How receptive are we to new ideas? A new way of doing something, or maybe not doing something? What is the benefit of having openness in these respects? Being open to different ways of doing things has to do with what habits we have, what ways of doing things are we accustomed to using in our own lives. It's really important because having a certain habit or not having a certain habit can actually keep us from realizing dreams, goals, the completion of certain projects, and or from having certain quality relationships. It could be a friendship, it could be a relationship, a romantic relationship, it could be a business relationship. Have you ever been to an event and you said to yourself, now that's a person that I want to meet. This person, he or she seems really interesting to me, and it could be for whatever reason. It could be, this gentleman has gone on a Tinder date. He's like, oh man, I gotta meet that person. I gotta meet that girl. It could be you're at a mixer and you're supposed to be networking and mixing with these people and potential business contacts. It could be at a school function, and these are people that could potentially be some of your future friends, close friends. But for whatever reason, it could be any number of reasons, you decide, you know what, now's not the right time. You could be too shy, you could be maybe nervous, you could be scared, you could be upset, you could be tired. So it could be anything. But for whatever reason, you don't meet that person. Later on, it turns out, unbeknownst to you, that person just so happens that was last year's Nobel Peace Prize winner. How many of us would like to win the Nobel Peace Prize? We all probably would. We all probably could. We really could. Sky's the limit. It's up to you. It's up to us. It's up to each one of us what we can do. But in order to do that, potentially, we have to maybe talk to people who've done that. We have to maybe experience being in the same space as someone who has done that. Wouldn't it have been nice to just for a few minutes pick their brains? If we had developed enough courage and maybe had more of an open mind to have the courage to approach that person, then maybe we would have done that. It's possible. Having a closed mind more often than not will not allow us to do that. There's any number of reasons why people choose to not meet someone. It could be that person's not the right political party. It could be they're the wrong religion. Pardon me. It could be that they're the wrong religion. It could be the wrong sexual orientation, the wrong color of skin. There's any number of reasons why people choose to meet someone or not meet someone. But having an open mind to meeting someone can help us a lot of times, more often than not. It can help expand our minds, help expand our horizons, help us create opportunities. Earlier we heard some speakers talking about creating opportunities for ourselves. Part of creating opportunities for ourselves is having an open mind to do that. I'd like to share with you a story. It's not a true story, but it's a cautionary tale about forming certain habits. And because we form certain habits, it's going to allow us to open-mindedly, open-heartedly embrace others through our speech, through a hug, whatever form it might be. The title of this story is A Caution Against Forming Certain Habits. A man hears of a single stone located among many stones on a beach. This valuable stone will turn any metal that it touches into gold. You will know the stone because when you find it, it will become warm to the touch in your hand. The man becomes determined to find the stone amongst all the other stones on the beach. So he goes to the beach, he begins checking each and every stone. He realizes that if he simply drops each stone as he checks it, that he may end up checking the same stones over and over again and never get anywhere. Therefore, he decides that he will check the stone, and if it's cold, he'll throw it into the ocean so as to not confuse that stone with other stones that he has not checked. Picks up a stone, and it's cold, throws it into the ocean. Picks up another stone, it's cold, throws it into the ocean, and so forth and so on. Hours become days, days become weeks, weeks become years. Still, he picks up a stone, and it's cold, and he throws it into the ocean. Finally, one day, he picks up a stone, and it's warm. And yet, he throws it into the ocean. Well, why did that happen? Well, because he had formed a habit. principle here, folks, is that establishing a habit can help us from getting what we really desire. It's very likely that this gentleman, this person, had closed off his mind to the possibility that over a course of many days and many months and many weeks, that he was never going to find that one stone that he'd been looking for so long. He maybe had closed off his mind to that possibility. He had been desensitized to the fact that for all these days and months, he's been touching cold stones. So forget about it. It's not going to happen. So the one time that he found it, his opportunity was gone. There's a lot of reasons why we don't necessarily want to change how things are done. It could be force of habit. It could be that sometimes it's too difficult to change. The fear of failure, that's a big one. Not enough time. Oh my goodness, I got too much time. It costs too much. There's an infinite number of reasons why we may or may not want to change what we're doing, or what society thinks that should be done, or what society thinks that we should do. On the flip side, making educated decisions about change is important, because making change just for the sake of making change isn't always necessarily the best thing either. You might remember the story of the man he's got this big brick wall, and it didn't have to be a brick wall, it could be a mountain. He's got his pickaxe and he's going after, he's looking for the diamonds. He's looking for that treasure. And then at the last second, he's, you know what, I'm gonna change course. Because I've been after this diamond for years, and I've gotten nowhere. I've gotten somewhere, but very slowly. This much, had he kept going, this much, here's the diamond right here. He made a change because he was tired. He made a change because he just was giving up. So being open to change, having an open heart to change, can create opportunities. But sometimes making that change can also diminish the ability to have an opportunity. Over the course of history, there are many change makers that we could name off. Henry Ford, Albert Einstein, Benjamin Franklin, Martin Luther King Jr., George Washington Carver, Aristotle, Rosa Parks, Steve Jobs. These are all change makers, and these are folks that, irrespective of their industry, they all made changes. But they didn't make changes, again, as I said earlier, they didn't make changes just for the sake of making changes. But the changes that they made affected the course of history. They affected everyone's lives up until that point and beyond. They affect our lives to this day. Think about Rosa Parks. Because she decided to make a change over the course of her life, over what she had done up until that point. She said, you know what, today, I'm tired. I want to go to the back of the bus. I'm going to sit in the front. And she did. She sat there, she made a change, and things as a result changed. Henry Ford. Can you imagine what life would be like today if I've got to drive from North Hollywood to here, which was tonight, 25 miles, and I've got a horse and buggy? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Big changes. All these are changes that were inconceivable maybe 200 years ago. But because someone had a vision and had the courage and had the forethought and the insight and the open mind and the open heart to think of something outside of themselves, they made change. And it made our world and our lives, therefore, better. Earlier this evening, one of our speakers talked about the Titanic. You know, we all know what happened with the Titanic. I like to use the term the Titanic effect. The makers of the Titanic, the ship, they were very ambitious. They wanted change, albeit blind ambition. They were blinded by their ambition. So making that change, they said, this ship is unsinkable. It was sinkable. So making change, again, just for the sake of making change is not always good, because it can have detrimental effects all the same. Having an open mind and an open heart will allow us, me, you, all of us, to be the change that we want to see in the world. You have to be willing, we all have to be willing to take direction, to be the director, to give direction, to be a leader, to have a bigger vision outside of ourselves. And then we can be the change that we want to see, as I said. And we can have an open heart, we can be open-minded, we can be receptive. Thank you.